And Lewis, I'm going to go through, it's the same as last program. I'm going to go through some about a little bit in depth in the repurposing content before we get started and the content categories. So you can just hang out and just remove your video for a few minutes and then come back. I don't need you for that. And I need you specifically for the content categories. And when we're going to go through the content categories, I want you guys to put them in the chat section. Your content categories, just copy and paste them in. And we have an hour and a half together today, so we're going to be as effective and with the time as possible. So we can't, spend too much time on one person. So I want to, distribute it through so everyone gets some, feedback on their content categories, gets to kind of pick Lewis's brain. And also, but then we might have to move on before maybe we complete them all, but it will be also value to kind of hear everyone else's content categories so you can get ideas from each other as well. Sounds like a good plan? So when it's your time, let's try to be as effective as possible, because then we can cover as much as possible, Cool. All right. So I'm going to basically, I've created a PowerPoint where I'm going to go more in depth before we get started on that. Into repurposing content, because that's a strategy that me and Lewis uses, in everything that we do. And it's, if you really start getting an understanding of repurposing content and the value of using this strategy, you're going to really increase your content creation, but also the quality of your content. And essentially, then you'll start making content while you're when you're making music, when you're doing these other things. So you're doing more than just one thing. So it's kind of a method of, it's a strategy that you guys have to start implementing now. It's a new way of creating content because you have to put, while you're a musician, while you're doing these things, you also have your content head there as well, and start building content pieces out of that. And I'll show you some examples. Cool. All right. So we have a lot of stuff to cover, so that's why I'm going to try to be as effective as possible here. Do you guys see my screen? Yes?
Yes. Yes.
Cool. And I'm recording this day's session, so you guys can, because we're going to cover a lot, so you guys can, then you will get the recording after today, that you can go through it on your own time as well, and you might want to rewatch something, so you'll get the link to the recording of the whole class today. All right. So I created a PowerPoint. These are the remaining dates left. We're here today, May 20th. We're going to talk about content creation. Next week, it's going to be about engagement and distribution. And the week after, then you'll see the timing here, where we'll move next week to 3 o'clock. Whereas it will be a little bit early for Danny, who is in LA, right? But will you make it, or is that?
Yeah. I'm in my pajamas now, so.
Well, that's fine. So that's because we have in Malaysia, and so I'm trying to optimize the time so we can meet, everyone in the same time frame. So let's try. So these are the dates going forward. Block your calendars, and I'll also send you every beginning of the week a reminder of your assignments and kind of the game plan as well. And you'll get a link an hour before as well. So let's talk about repurposing content. So this is basically how I create content. Whenever my product is an Instagram program, right? So a lot of the content that I create is around Instagram. So I always start by writing a blog post, because that's my format. That's my bigger content piece. And then I think of, okay, how can I repurpose this content piece into several different pieces and into smaller pieces? So out of a blog post, I always then create a YouTube video where I talk about the same thing. It's the same value, it's just in a different format. So the amount of time that I take to create that post is less, but the value is still the same because you use it at a different channel, right? And then I also use the audio section of that, and I launched it as an Apple podcast. So out of a blog post, you suddenly then get tons of content pieces out there that you can create around this. And I'll show you an example of how this is, like in a music perspective, because this is how I do it. So out of the longer YouTube video, when I create, which is basically just repurposing the blog post, I then create smaller video clips that I use for Instagram. So these this I'm talking about 5 mistakes musicians make on Instagram is one, and then each one of those mistakes can be a good post on Instagram. So out of that video suddenly turns into several content pieces on Instagram. And if I say something smart, that turns into a tweet picture, which is also another post. So I want you to start thinking about content where you're starting with some longer pieces, with some bigger pieces that you can create, mini content pieces out of. I'll give you an example. So this is for musicians, right? So let's say you're creating a song, you're creating an album right now, and the inspirations that you're doing, having the samples or whatever that you have that you're working on that week, you can potentially then create a playlist. So a playlist is a really good, and I'll talk a little bit more about that as well today, and we'll go through probably some examples that playlist is a good format for you guys to communicate, because that's a format that you already are, that's your expertise, music, right? So you can then essentially create a playlist that then results into several content pieces on Instagram. You can create these carousels that are, the top 5 songs from the 1990s, or the top, in another carousel that you have maybe a personal story on each one of the songs. So there's tons of content pieces that you can create out of just, the playlist. And the same way goes for, let's say you're recording yourself, or you're making a longer recording of you creating music, or you singing, or whatever you're doing. You can then start creating these smaller video clips that you can then distribute on Instagram, while maybe your longer video is for YouTube perhaps, right? If blog post is your format, blogs can also easily, or let's say your text writer, your songwriter, your lyrics specifically, can then also be repurposed into, content pieces as well. If you're using text as a way to, be a musician now. So these are, different ways that I want you to start thinking of content creation while you're making music. If you're doing a project right now, you're influenced by something, you're inspired by something, you have a goal with it, what content can you create around that? Because then you're essentially doing that already. And then think of, smaller content pieces that you can distribute out of that as well. So this is a new, I want you to really kind of start testing this out. This is the, testing, you're not going to get the right structure right away. It's going to be a little bit, finding the right video, finding the right format. But once you're starting to, use content in a, weekly basis, sharing more, you'll then start having longer pieces of content as well. So you can then optimize that process, basically. All right. Any questions on repurposing content? No. Great. I'm going to go on. So another tip that I want to give you, because I don't have this section in the course yet, because Instagram did the change recently. So I'm going to update the course. So that's why I wanted to go through it here as well, because Instagram has changed now the carousel functionality, where you before only had 3 pictures that you can play around with. You now have 10 pictures to play around with. And if you use the carousel functionality smart, you can then optimize a lot of engagement, because Instagram is tracking many different things when it comes to your content. One is the amount of time that someone spends on your content. So that's why video is so great, because people spend longer time on your content. Another, if you want to do that using pictures or telling a story, carousels are a great way, because, every swipe, the longer they stay on your profile, the better it is. So it may not result into a lot more likes, but it's resulting into people spending longer time on your profile, interacting by swiping as well, which is Instagram is tracking. So you'll see then that, if you start using these correctly and using these right, and where people then, interact with them and engage with them, you see that the reach is gradually going to go up as well. So carousels can be a really creative way to tell a story. If you're tutorial, if you're a teacher, can be a great way to give quick tips, is what I'm doing here, where, I'm using each one of the section to give, a tip or, something specific. And then, encouraging them to move on to the next one as well. And then towards the end, I have a call to action to maybe tell them to like it, or maybe tell them to share it to someone that they feel, this would be value of this, or will be inspired, or comment something, right? So if you start thinking creatively around, the content pieces that you will create, we're going to try that one of them can be carousels, and try testing out this format because it's a great format. Also, playlists, I want to talk a little bit more about that, and then we're going to go over to Lewis, and we're going to go over to content categories. So playlist is, I mentioned it earlier, it's really a good tool for you guys to use. I've created a video about how to use playlists as well on YouTube. I can send you guys. And this is kind of your blog post, right? Because maybe you guys do not write blogs or do not these longer videos, but you do create playlists because that's how you work with music maybe now. Maybe if you're a DJ, you already have it categorized in playlists. And if you're working on music, if you're creating music, you're inspired by something, you have this organized already. So now it's just kind of using it for a new purpose where you want to share your inspirations, share your process, share, give value to the listener other than just promoting yourself. So an example here is DJ Sasha, which, several times a month, I think maybe twice a month or something, is his publishing schedule here, where he then publishes a new playlist, where he then promotes it on Instagram, as you see here, where, he creates like testimonials, each in a carousel format, where each carousel has a testimonial, and the goal of that is to get them to check out the playlist. And playlist is a good way to also kind of build rapport and build trust and start getting to know, like they getting to know you, and you as like the decisions and your inspirations as well, right? So I want you to think more towards building playlists. Great. All right, next week. Now we're gonna go over to the content categories. Do we have any questions about this so far? Is Lewis here now? I need you, Lewis. There you are. All right, so let's start going through the content categories. Have you guys put them in the chat section? I don't see anything. Put them in the chat section, guys. Nothing. Okay, so I want, like, if you have 6 categories, just put all 6 of them there, because you were gonna have the 6 categories. So try to just put all of them, and then we can pick some of the categories or all of them, if we go through. Jeez. Should we start with Melissa? That's the only one we have, song inspiration right now. Melissa, do you want to unmute?
Hi.
There you go. How are you, Melissa? Welcome,
I'm
by
good.
the way. You weren't here last week. So Melissa is from Malaysia. If you would just want to briefly introduce yourself.
Yeah, hi, I'm Melissa. My friends call me Sarah. I'm currently located in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, and I'm a singer-songwriter, and I actually use music. I perform a little less and write a little less these days, but I use music as a life coach, actually. So I weave music and writing into people, a transformative life coach. So that's kind of what I do.
Cool. So your categories that you have, because you are a tutor, right? You are a teacher, right?
Yeah.
Who are your identities? Like, let's go through your categories now, because you just put song inspiration, but we'll help you. No, we'll help you with this.
Categories, but I wasn't sure if I was going off tangent because this is specifically music. So.
No, so whenever, because you post several times a day, right? So when you plan your post, you probably want every week you need to show yourself from a music tutor side, right? Mm-hmm. No, from a teacher side, because that's an important part of your business. So that has to be one of your categories. One of your categories, if you're, let's say you are using playlists a lot, that's one of your formats of communication. So that should be a category that you should, every week, that you should share some content around. Also, you making music, the music making process, you as a musician, there should be some content around that every week as well, whether it's, filming your live session, or if it's your music inspiration, something that's just sharing the music process, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you, what other areas are important to your identity? Are you there?
Yeah, sorry, my Wi-Fi is a bit dodgy. I actually have yoga here because I use my music in my yoga. I'm a yoga teacher.
So yoga can also be another category. Another one can be personal. That is more personal. Maybe that can be yoga, right? So I want you to start thinking creatively around these formats, right? Around these categories. So let's pick some. Lewis, what would you, if you're going to create some cool content here, you a little bit background, pick some of the categories. How would you attack, like?
Well, I don't know what kind of music that you do, but for example, for a carousel, you could have images of the yoga poses. Then you could have a song attached to that picture or video that inspired that, or this track is great for relaxing to this, and then you could just do like a whole kind of sequence of movements. That could be a good carousel. And then if you're doing, say, lyrics or something motivational, you could, create a story of like, the first slide could be a question like, are you feeling X, Y, or Z, whatever? And then so you ask a question to grab their attention, and as they swipe next, you can explain, okay, in the rest of these carousels, I'm going to give you some tips on how to overcome the feeling. And then you've got kind of, just some information there, and then you can suggest a track that could, ease the pain, or do this or do that, just kind of like trying to mix together a few different things there, because I think it's more interesting to have kind of two attacks on one piece of content. So if you're covering kind of two of those interest areas, but then telling a story, like just kind of think like, what is it that people kind of want to know? What is it that people are kind of always asking questions for? Then just try and find what that is. And there's probably lots of them that you could do. So once a week, you could kind of think, right, okay, I'm going to do this sequence this week. And then you could just regularly post that as like a weekly staple of your feed,
Yeah, great. That's not too much information then, is it? It's not too much. My concern is always I've got too much. No,
it's it just takes a while to kind of get into the swing of it, because if you'll actually make a note of this, I use a really good app called Adobe Spark. And with that, they kind of have all these templates that really easily you can kind of double click the text and edit it and things like that. It is free up until a certain thing, and then it's like £10 per month. But you know what? It is amazing. It's so easy to use, and there's lots and lots of different things that you can just kind of like edit around, and it just makes the whole thing a lot easier. Like with Rebecca's, I have a template set up, and then I just kind of change that information on a weekly basis, or however often I actually use the carousel. So it takes away a lot of the work and the time. So you just need to find the information to put in there, It's not worth kind of doing something new every single time, because that will just take up too much energy.
So that's why like these content categories is good, because then one of the content category is that, and the format already. So you can start like every week kind of generating content for a specific format, if that makes sense. So you're optimizing that.
You'll also find as well, once you've got these in your head and you understand what it is you're supposed to be doing every week, when you're just browsing, Facebook or whatever, you'll come up with inspirational things all the time. So just screenshot it, make a mental note, do whatever, like, because things will just, you'll just be reading, the news or something, and then you go, I could do that. So just kind of have an area where you save all the ideas to, and then you should have like an easy bank just to kind of refer to every time you need to do it.
Because what's important now, when you start creating content now, you'll start all having a content bank of so every content that you share and create, start saving this, because first of all, you can start reusing it. If it's a good post, you can use it later, but you also can remix it and change it up a bit. So the work that you are making now, creating this content, you should value that, because it could be reused. That time that you spent, that value can be reused several times. But you also, Melissa, you need to then every week also show yourself, because an important product of yours is teaching, right?
Yeah.
And what specifically are you teaching?
I have courses, so I teach lots of different things, but basically using playlisting as the main tool for teaching, sort of, as a life tool.
Yeah.
So coaching people.
So you should have a weekly playlist. Like, you should have this as a part of your weekly communication, and then that should translate into a format that you communicate this every week on Instagram. And it could even be 2 different formats. It could even be one that's a personal photo of yourself, but you can also promote the playlist. Well, another one can be a carousel where you're, say like carousel can be something of value that you're already giving in the playlist, but they're still getting value when they see it on Instagram. So it's not just promoting that playlist. Like each post, like each carousel is still giving some sort of value,
Yeah.
Lewis, do you have any ideas there? Playlist?
Well, yeah, it's easy to attach a playlist. It's quite easy to use in the whenever you're posting, whatever you're posting, you can easily kind of in the caption just kind of say, here's a playlist that will, whatever you're posting, it's easy to link to sorry, I can't think. It's easy to link to that playlist with whatever it is that you've posted. So, I mean, that's probably not very helpful. I'll just repeat.
No, I get it. I'm kind of working the other way, where I have a theme and then I suggest this. I say song association. So I'll write a post based on a theme that's connected to a course I'm trying to sell, and then I'll have a song association, and then I'll normally put one of my own. But I realize I can as a variation of that would be to do the playlist.
Yeah.
And associate the playlist to the theme, which leads to the course. So it's like, as you say, just repurposing, switching it around.
Yeah. So every playlist that you do, there's a few pieces of content that you can make out of that per week. So every week you can have like your different theme, and then from that you'll just kind of get ideas, just to kind of go, right, well, I'll pull a piece of information from there, and then make a simple meme out of it or something like that. Even just you could have again, going back to the carousel things. You could have lyrics on each kind of like carousel, then you could ask, what emotion does this evoke? Or I'm sorry, I don't really 100% understand what you do, but there's a lot of ways that you can just break a lot of information down into something really simple, and then that's the way to kind of get the most out of your content, because you've got to be posting a lot.
And that's great with Instagram as well. You need like simple piece of content can be very valuable. Like just a quote is very valuable, because that's what Instagram is for sometimes. It's just like entertainment and inspiration and stuff. So it's good. Cool. All right. So
thank you.
Yeah. Let's go to CC Luna. Here we have some content categories. My radio shows, releases. You need to unmute, CC Luna. And Melissa, you need to mute. Playlist, I only have 3. Okay, so let's talk about your content categories, because you are a DJ, you are a music producer, you are like there should be some personal to you, like whether it's a power woman or inspiration or motivation or like that part of you. You also have your activities like your radio shows that can generate content, which is good, and also your releases, which is your sales content. So every week, one of everyone's content categories has to be promotional, right? Because you need to also, everyone needs to promote something as well. So you need to allocate real estate for promotion on top of everything there. So that needs to be one of your categories as well, on top of everyone, right? So let's think of some categories here and some creative, because you need to show yourself not only from DJing is important. Yeah. That should be a category for you. Yeah. It's one of your products as well. Yeah. Music production, that is, part of who you are. So that should be one of your categories every week that you show yourself from. So we can discuss different formats of doing this. Yes. We should be a personal one where, what is your personality? Have you
No, but I will be looking at quotes and stuff. I'm really into the quotes. So I will find some. It's not very easy to find. I can find it for my yoga, but I can't really find like the ones I like for music. But I'll I'm looking. So
inspiration, that's kind of your personality almost. Yeah. That's your, it can also be, a personal, that's, picture of yourself. That could be a content category where it's like personal, your process or something, your story. Yeah. So, all right. So let's think of DJing. A format that you should definitely use is live shows. Like if you're DJing, you need to have every week show your live shows, right? Yeah. Lewis, do we have any of your DJ as well? With some creative things that you can do around the format of DJing?
Well, obviously lockdown, it's everybody's jumping on the live streaming bandwagon. Yeah. Do you have all of the setup and equipment to do that from home?
Yeah. I am
You do?
actually doing this weekend, I think.
Yeah,
I just find it really boring. I also want to be having like, you know, I'm really picky with what, you know, what it looks like. I don't really want to be doing it here in my kitchen, but I think I'm going to have to, I think, because I got a fisheye and I'm going to open the balcony doors. And I think I'm just going to do either a lunchtime session or a early afternoon or something.
Yeah. Okay. Well, in that case, obviously, as Rebecca said, doing a live video is sort of the best thing that you can be doing. But in the sort of around that, what you could be doing is you could put up some sort of Instagram stories and do like a poll or a question or something like that, and then try to kind of get some some viewer engagement before you've actually done it. Like, you know, do you have any requests, or what song makes you feel X, Y, Z, whatever? Just try and get some engagement from people using the stories, and then whatever responses you get from that, you can then kind of go, right, well, this person has said I would like this song to be played. So then it's easy to kind of like, you can almost like make it personal to the people that are actually already following you. So rather than trying to attract new fans, just try and cater to the people that are already there. And then sort of try and convert them into like more of a stronger fan. So try and make it a bit more personal, because everyone's playing music, it's easy to do, things like that. But if you kind of make it a bit more of like a somehow interactive, obviously you can't sort of stop and start.
Yeah, I'm laughing so much about the requesting a song. That's like the worst nightmare.
So you can make a really good joke out of that. You can say like, I fucking hate song requests, but in the spirit of Corona, come on, throw them out.
No, but I think hopefully the people. Yeah, but hopefully the people who are following me, they like my kind of techno, so they won't request like something commercial that I would just refuse to play.
Yeah,
So.
I mean, if you could, if
then you specify the question more. So like,
exactly.
then you know, that's all in the question. So you can say, what's the perfect techno song when you do this, or when you
or which track do you like between like of this? I can sort of maybe add like 3 different DJs, and they can pick one or whatever.
Or you can ask like, what's the perfect closing song, and then list, you know, have like three options that they can choose from. Then you'll play that in your set. You know, just try and create like, it's like, you know, everyone's involved and everyone's a part of making that set or something. Yeah.
Sounds good.
And then when it comes to your personality, definitely quotes. It's an easy. You should maybe think of doing these like tweet quotes as well, which is very effective. Even though you might not have an active Twitter account, just actually creating.
I use it only for my
right. So like, but it's just like because when you create these tweet pictures that you can easily create for Instagram, you have your picture there, you have your branding there. It's directly next to the value. So it brings a lot of, you know, value into one piece of quote, into one piece of the. So it's you know, you can use that, but then also you're promoting your other channels as well. You know. Cool. So that could be a good format for you, but test it out. You know, and also the quote over images, quote over something. You know, you can test out there. Louis, do you have any ideas there?
Sorry, I've put my aircon on. I can't hear anything.
Yeah.
Sorry, I missed that. I was trying to sort.
No, do we have any other like creative content? Let's think of CC Luna every week that we can create up there around the music process of music production.
For music production, you could create a series, for example. So an idea that I had recently was, again, going back to the carousels, they're my favorite thing at the moment. When you're creating a track, you know, because a lot of people that don't really understand how music production works still, obviously everyone's a DJ and a producer nowadays, but you know, still a lot of people that don't understand it. You could start really simple. Like once you've got a nice track that you're kind of working on, like you could post a clip of, you know, just like the bass line, and then you could build it up, you know, and then the percussion is on the next one, and the vocals, then you kind of end in the final song. It's just more of an interesting way to kind of push out something, just because people, it's going to get people swiping as well, because they go, oh, where's this building to? Where is it going? So, you know, you could do something like that, and then again, like that you're doing your setup or something like that, you know, a day in the life of creating a radio show or something like that, then you can just do a slide of the setup, like, oh, I need to do this, obviously make it interesting or funny, but even though it kind of isn't, but you know, you just like things and put a spin on it.
Yeah, cool.
All right.
Thank you. Yeah,
great. Let's go to Richard Brookins. Hi, Richard. Unmute.
Hello.
There you go. Hi, how are you?
I'm great. How you doing?
Good, good. All right, so we have your content categories: the music process, composing, recording, playing, personal interest, jazz and meditation, music, yoga, vegan. All right, so we have some let's think of how to create the content around your personal interest. When it comes to, like, because there's several areas to you. And what are your products? What are you selling now? Like, you are obviously your music, but do you have any other products that you're doing?
Well, no, I'm getting ready to launch some workshops or classes that I'm going to put together.
Right.
For meditation, and like a series. You was just mentioning that earlier. A series, you know, there's a tradition of 40 days sometimes in like Kundalini yoga or different things that you do the same meditation. And so I have a CD out that I would use for that, and I might include that as a gift, or you know, part of the payment. You pay for that as you pay for the course or the class. Other things like that, you know, that I'm still working on making that content, but that's the idea. That's the direction I'm going.
Yeah. So you're also, you also work with other artists composing? I mean,
yeah,
composing.
Actually, yeah, I've had a number of people approach me to do online collaborations now that we're all online pretty much. You know.
Right. So exactly. So you're starting to have different types of products here, right? So you have obviously your music. Yeah. But you also have you as a music composer working with others that you can start, you know, that should be, you know, an area that you need to show yourself, but also a teacher. So like, we'll start with your products, and then we'll start creating categories around, you know, your products.
There's also like, people are asking me they're going to send me a track. They want me to play something, one of my woodwinds or percussion on that, and then send it back to them. It kind of like collaboration. So it's kind of branching out, I think, a lot with different people, which is interesting.
Right.
So
are you is collaboration a huge part of the way you make music usually?
Well, actually, no. Up until this point, I mean, I've always played with bands and you know, freelanced and had my own groups and all that. But but more the last 10 years or so, I recorded more just a solo, because I played different instruments. I play some percussion, then I do some tracks on the computer also. Okay. Augmented. So it's you know, I have a number of CDs out where I'm the only musician, or I might have had someone come in to play like part of one track for me or something. Not very much. It was just easier and more economical. Really.
Cool. Yeah. All right. So let's think of some content. So definitely you need to show yourself from a teacher, because that's one of your products, right?
Yeah.
So that's like, we need to think of formats to show that and give value on Instagram through that, because that's indirectly selling yourself as a teacher, right?
Yeah,
and also
music teacher, instrumental, you know, individual lessons, and also I want to create a you know, a series of classes in general to put out, you know, about different subjects musically, but also with yoga. Yeah. Exactly.
So yoga, and like, it could be teaching material yoga as well as music, but like, you as a teacher you need to show yourself there, and we need to create content around that on Instagram. So also you as a musician, so we need to have the music process, preferably maybe some video content that we can create that around you creating music, and the fact that you're building, like, creating every part of your songs as well can be good, you know, content pieces here, you know, where you then Lewis, do you have any ideas here how you can kind of when you're actually building the whole masterpiece, you know, yourself?
Yeah, collaboration's a really good a good thing that you can use. So as Rebecca said, you know, video content is king, and it's going to be that way for a long time. So if you can possibly, I mean, it is easily done. If you can, you know, record yourself playing a part, and then whoever you're collaborating with, you know, they're also playing that part, and then you just kind of put it together, and then that other person can share it on their social media as well. So that's another way to kind of get some more kind of audience from somebody else's side. And then again, the carousels, you know, you can go through the process of, say, meditation, like, you know, the 7 tips to, I don't meditate myself, but, you know, 7 tips to do whatever it is that you need to do to meditate. And again, like I suggested to Cece, I think it was, you know, you like use the carousel as a way of, you know, as a way of communicating. Sorry, I forgot what I was saying. Communicate. Obviously, all of the steps, you know. Yeah. So I've got the cat attacking my foot. So, what was the question? Sorry.
No, it's basically we're thinking creatively around different content pieces. So we covered like music production, no, music creation, collaboration, and different things that you can do around
you can do the collaboration thing, and then you know, the fact that you play instruments as well is, you know, you could do something that's take a really popular song, and then you can try and play it in your own style. You know, like, you know, you could take a really like aggressive song in a funny way, and then just kind of say like, oh, this is how you zen whatever, and then you can kind of create like a really nice acoustic version.
I thought about, I don't have enough really to do a whole lot with it, but, you know, trying to make these videos, especially when I first started making them for YouTube and for Instagram, I'd have certain things that just, you know, like I was on a beautiful lake on a little dock playing flute, and the piece was going great, and I had some Tibetan bowls I was playing, and then all of a sudden this hugely obese guy and his canoe came behind me and just kind of stopped and looked at me for a while and then kept going, you know, so it completely destroyed the video. I thought I'd make a blooper loop, you know, of you know, just for fun. Yeah,
it's that kind of thing that obviously, it would have been a beautiful video if the guy hadn't have gone past. That's a really good way to kind of inject some personality into your content, because it's important not to be, you know, too serious. So if it's you as a brand and you're trying to promote yourself as a brand, you know, you don't want to come across as too like mega serious. You still need to kind of inject a bit of laughter from time to time, or, you know, whatever your personality type is. It's good to do stuff like that.
Right.
Yeah, so every week you need to show yourself from the teacher, both maybe music teacher as well as yoga teacher. You need to show yourself as, you know, creating music and how you create music, and think of, you know, creative ways to do that through videos, whether it's format like the carousel formats or collaborating with it. But like, this needs to be consistent. So like every week we're doing 6 posts per week, right? At least one of them should be that. And especially the music creation is great to have in a video format, because that's your expertise. So it's really good to kind of use, if you're going to pick one of the 4 categories to be video, the music creation for you is probably important. And then you need to invest into kind of finding your right format to create this and to do this every week. And what do you like? Is there a specific weekly theme that we can do here, that where you can create content around that for Instagram or for your channels, where the goal is just to show yourself from the music in the music creation process, because then they'll get to know the musician behind it. So that should be one content piece every week. You should also, are you using playlists?
No, not really. I'm not really clear on what that even is.
Right, because it could be, I mean, that could be essentially on Spotify, you basically create a playlist of the perfect songs for meditation.
I thought you were talking about Instagram playlists. Yeah, I was just trying this last week, the playlist, and I actually was hoping I could ask the question about Spotify, because I'm pretty new to that. So I was making a playlist, pulling in, I have 8 CDs out, and I only could pull in, I think, 3 of them for some reason that were already on Spotify. I guess the CD Baby puts them up. So I guess I have to go back to CD Baby and have them put them on Spotify for me, or change my settings there, because I don't find them on Spotify.
Right. So that's the official playlist that you can create. So there's also, with your personal account, you can start creating these like weekly playlists that you basically just use for publishing, that you don't have to use CD Baby to actually, you know, to actually publish these. They're just for your inspiration that you want to share with your audience, basically.
From other artists.
Other artists, not your music.
My second question about Spotify, I noticed that when I think I was doing that, and I wasn't sure which one I was doing, I guess, but I was doing that, and all of a sudden they said that they added a bunch of musicians onto the playlist, and so I clicked on one, and you know, I come from jazz and meditation music, and here was a country and western guy, which has nothing to do with what I mean, it doesn't really connect to the same audience at all to me.
Right.
So
no, okay.
How they get their playlist, or how I can change that so at least it connects to what I do.
Right. You know? So I think, but the playlist that you create, you're in control over, basically. So you decide what you have on them, basically. So, but I can send you the video of how to use playlists I think it will help you here. But then basically, you start with the product. You as a teacher, yoga, music, start creating then, you know, content pieces every week to show yourself from there, where each content piece is value, where you give value, not just selling yourself as you know, meditation or yoga. You know, they need to learn something, and they need to get inspired, need to get educated, right?
Right.
Richard, your music that you make, is it meditation music or
yeah, jazz?
Well,
like
I have two pretty separate things, and within them there's several different categories. So yeah, there's a yoga category where meditation or live or music for yoga class, or
okay, so the music.
And then on the other side there's jazz, and there's different kinds of jazz that are very, you know, pretty.
Yeah.
I've been doing this. I've really branched out a lot of different things.
For the yoga music, especially, if you send your tracks to, you know, yoga teachers or whatever people that are doing yoga, then ask them to record it, because people like to record themselves doing yoga and stuff, don't they? So send it out to people and ask them to record themselves doing it to your music, and then that's just an easy way to repost it. And again, if they post it on their socials and obviously tag you in it, that's a good way to kind of pull people from other audiences as well. So for that'd be a pretty good idea. You can do that.
That's a good idea.
Right.
Yeah.
Great.
All right. So should we go to Mette? Yeah. Do you have any other questions, Richard?
No. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect. Mette. All right. Do we need to unmute?
Okay. Yeah.
There you go.
List. So I just took out some of the long list, you know, with a lot of details in. Can you hear me? Or?
Yeah, we're here. So traveling, troubadour, creative.
Yeah.
So traveling is a big part of you. Creative work in progress.
Yeah, because
publication, business, me, personality, inspiration, motivator, inner, outer, journey, home, out, nature. Dive in the deep, philosophy, art, drawing.
Some quotes, yeah.
Yeah.
So
I like these.
so with Mette, Louise, with Mette, one of her products is, I mean, she is a songwriter and she uses text a lot, but she's also then started becoming a consultant and actually a marketing expert and helping people with their newsletters. Okay. So her edge is like, she knows how to move people with words, you know, with emotions as a musician. And she started then kind of creating consultancy projects out of it. So how can we show her from that angle?
Without destroying your
from the consultancy side.
Yeah. Kind of her expertise as the song, because her thing is that she has an edge because she is a musician, so she knows how to like use words to move, because you do that through music. So we want to show that for businesses, for you know,
instead of separating it, because I move audiences. And it's the same quality when I write newsletters for example, a CEO. I help him moving his employees so they actually follow his words and feel positive. So it's the same idea when I perform. But I used to separate it. So every time there's something about my writing for business, I sort of hide it. So I never really promote myself except for the music. So I want to sort of connect instead of hiding it, you know, if it's possible.
Okay, continue talking and I'll think about that one. That's
Sure. No, think about that one. So let's do the other one, because that's the challenge here, right? Because if we can hack that in a format where she can show value, because you need to show yourself from a songwriting perspective and from like your singer's perspective, right? But you also need to show that you're using that in a commercial sense. That's how your expertise, but it's being used here. It's been moved, like it could be used in marketing, it could be used in newsletter, it can be used in actually sales, you know, it can be used in these different avenues. I
also write travel articles, so it ends up like a pattern, you know, like I'm the traveling person, and then when I'm traveling, I usually also sing, and then I go back again to my home, but then I'm inspired, or I write new songs, and then I go back to America again, and then I record an album, and then I come back, and you know, it's like a process.
Okay, well, I think the easiest way to kind of connect all of those things together, because it's not an easy, you know, if you were to create like a still image, you couldn't communicate all of those things just on an image. So I think, do you do like vlogging or like, you know, anything like that?
Yeah,
you do?
I also have a blog, but it's kind of, I mean, I do write longer, you know, recently I wrote a long one from my trip to Asia, and about how I was communicating with people and singing, and how this taught me something. That I went to Bali, for example. I also found a studio there, so I wrote in the blog that I maybe come back there one day and record something.
Yeah. So then something you could do with that, with each blog post that you've already got, you can you know, take a selection of images that you've taken, you know, to do with whatever, and then you can again use those on some sort of carousel style thing, but then use the caption to kind of summarize what the blog post was about. So you've got something visual to look at, you're seeing what you're doing, and then, you know, just give a bit of insight into the reason why you're posting that, what you know, what dots you want to connect together. And then you can link, you know, in your bio link, you can link to the blog post, you know, so you're driving people onto your blog post. But then what you can start doing at the end of your blog posts is, you know, tell people what it is you're trying to achieve. Like, you know, I do this as well as this, as well as this. Get in contact if you would like to discuss X, Y, and Z. You know, just you need to kind of tell people what it is at each stage of that process. So show people the images on the carousel, explain a little bit in the description, then say head over to my blog to read more, and then at the bottom of that there's, you know, more of like a call to action.
So I need to point them towards the blog,
because people are very visual, you know. So if you've got like lots of, you know, beautiful images, or, you know, of nature, or of, you know, maybe even like you could do videos of you speaking something that you've written, you know, just like, you know, not perform them, but, you know, spoken word or things like that. And then there's a lot that you can do. It's just trying to pull them all together is the one that I'm trying to think of. But
and think of like what we can do consistently, because I want every today, like after today, I want you guys to have your plan. This is the content that we're gonna test the next few weeks, and we're gonna test out a few different formats in the different content categories. But the categories, like your personality, if that's motivational, inspirational, that will never change. But you need to show that every week. And every week you then need to think of like, well, this week that's shown with a quote, and that's shown, you know, my personality day is Sunday, you know? So you're then more structured both with your content, but also with the formats that you're testing in your content categories. So with that, like, let's say you have now 6 posts, you want to do one every week or every day of the week, or except one day. You then test out all different categories, and then one week you might test out you know, meme, but the next week maybe a video, you know. But the category stays the same, because you need to show yourself in that personality. And then throughout this experience, you will then see some formats that are kind of more effective than others. But and then you'll start forming your formats, but the categories are the same, because you are who you are. Like you have your, you know, your identity, your personality, and your products, right?
Yeah.
So we need to then start bridging those down into categories that are that we can start creating content around on a weekly basis. So you touch upon all the different areas, both your personality, like it needs to be personal, you as a musician, but you as a consultant, you as a traveler, and your personality as well.
Yeah, and I think because there's it's quite broken up what you do. You know, when you create a story, you can put it on the story highlights. I think it'd be good for people. I've not actually seen your profile yet, but I will take a look. So when people enter your profile, they can kind of see on your story highlights, you know, what it is that you're doing individually. So, you know, you can have your travel photography, you can have all in one row, so people can kind of see a bit clearer what it is that you do. And, you know, have your consultants have your consultants in there, and just remember to try and put all of your stories into those relevant highlights, because for me, I think that would be, I'd kind of, if I was to go onto your profile straight away, I would understand a bit more what it is, what your products are, you know. But you don't want to...
I haven't put it yet. I've only put some music on the profile, like some retro music and some Nordic Americana that I call road trip songs, and then I call my music Nordic Americana. But it's kind of, you know, retro kana. I just invented that yesterday. That was an old CD Danish song, so it reminded me of something retro. So I just put, but not in categories on the
So the category needs to reflect your products and your and your content as well, right?
So that could be a product for the writing stuff for business. in the highlight. That's a good one.
Yeah. So writing, travel, you know, just put everything into clear, concise things. You don't like, for instance, if you've made something up, nobody's going to know what that actually means. So I think try and stick to things that are a bit more obvious and kind of like, you know.
That's a good idea. Good idea.
Cool. All right, Maria.
Thank you.
Yeah. Maria, are you there? Unmute.
Yes.
There you go.
Hello.
Hey.
Hello.
All right. So we have your content categories here.
Yes.
Let's see here. Song lyrics, osteocanto classes online, music, inspiration, live shows, and humanity projects. Great. Very clear. So we have six pieces of content we're gonna test. This is what you need to show yourself every week on Instagram. So let's think of different formats here.
Okay.
So which one would you pick first, Lewis? Which one would triggers your creativity here?
Well, I think the humanity project stands out because it's not the usual. I mean, you know, it's not an everyday thing that you come across. So I think something like that is good to draw people in. So let's talk through that.
The Human Project, in fact, it's a project between lots of different continents, because I have friends in Argentina and Buenos Aires that working to redo some houses with people. They go and do houses. Okay. In Africa, I work with a school of dancers that the dancers doesn't pay their way of learning. So I give them singing lessons for just going there and give them singing lessons. Okay. So my osteocanto is always there in Argentina. No, but I want to put it there also in a way of giving some dignity, in a way of giving them values, what they do well. That's a lot of projects in different parts and linking with people.
Yeah, so you can easily tie in the music with the projects.
Sorry?
So you can easily tie in the music with the projects.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that's like that will touch people's hearts, and you know, people react to things like that quite well. So if you can, you know, layer over some music on top of, you know, an image or a video or whatever, just combine those two worlds. As much as possible, I think, because I think it will pull on people's heartstrings, and that's kind of the aim of the game, really. And congratulations, it's very good work.
Thank you. I'm trying. It's I'm trying to connect. In fact, there's a lot of good things that that are happening, but unseen. That it's not giving money to anyone, so it's unseen. But in a kind of way, I think that. Thank you to this quarantine, everyone is like thinking, oh, what we can do to each one help each other. Yeah.
So I think giving a focus of, you know, if you can get any images or videos of the dancing, for instance, like that would be really, really good, because you know, you can layer over a song over the top of that really well, and then you can, in the caption, you can just create a description which kind of says, this is what we're doing, this is what the world needs to be doing, this is why it's being done.
Good.
And then what the music means on top of that, you know. So, you know, round it up with music is the bridging connection between blah 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 blah. Be creative.
And also what's important, because I want to move to your products, and one of your products is online classes. So you are also a teacher. So then every week you need to show yourself from a tutor, from that you're like the value that they will receive by working with you as a teacher as well. So that could be quick tips. It could be, you know, carousels where you're teaching them. It could be you, video of yourself also giving advice as well. So there's different formats. Have you thought about this? How you're going to show yourself?
Yes, I was just filming me, and I was feeling very strange about how I teach, seeing me teaching. But I think it's really connecting, because I give some tips and immediately someone calls me, immediately someone sent me, yes, it's just like 1, 2, 3 was really, really, because of you was telling that the other day. And so, but it's, for me, it's very difficult to be constant, because I have so many things maybe I have to think it one day to think all the material for the week, and then I can yes.
It's just like doing your taxes. You can't avoid it. If
So the way that I work with content and the way that I do it and plan my week, because it's so good with the Creator Studio. I showed you the tutorial of the Creator Studio in the class, where you can now pre-plan all of your content. So all of what's happening in the next week, you can essentially publish that and pre-plan it the week before. And now when you have these content categories, some of these categories are really easy to create. Like, you know, if you have quotes, you know that you're gonna have quotes in the next 4 weeks, so you can just populate that calendar and you're finished with that. So try to, you know, pre-plan as much of this content as possible, so you can kind of optimize that content creation. So when you're going into Instagram, you're just engaging. You've done all of the content creation. You published all of it when you're doing the work throughout the week, if that makes sense.
Yeah, a lot.
So use Creator Studio and pre-plan all of your content the week before. Optimize the content creation. Don't think like every week, every day, just because that date's theme, you have to create that content that day. That can be created 2 weeks before. You just now, when we have a plan, when we have these categories that we know we need to show ourselves every week, you can start then, all right, well, one of them is maybe we're going to use memes. So I have 4 great memes. Well, great, then just publish them in the next 4 weeks and once a week. And then you're done with that content category. And then you'll spend more time on where you will, you know, actually need video to communicate. Because some of these, and for you, I think it's great, like you are a teacher, and if you're already experimenting on using video and being in front of the camera, that's a great way to show yourself as a teacher, by giving value right away. That's the format I use as well. And it's easily that you can transform it into other channels as well, like YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, everywhere.
Okay. Yeah.
So then they get introduced to you as a teacher right away, because you're there in front of them. And the same way, like when I had my webinars, you got introduced to me as a teacher. You got value right away. You saw how it is that I work, and you kind of got an impression before you made the commitment. So that's what you need to do with your channels as well, and especially if your product is a teacher, and that's probably one of the things that you want to scale. You need to really also invest in the content to show yourself from that angle.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you kind of want evidence of, you know, people that you've taught. If there's anybody that would be willing to kind of, you know, go on camera or something, or you know, just show the result of what you have taught somebody. That's a good way of just kind of going, right, this is what I do. This is how good it is.
Yes, I think that yes.
Yeah.
That is a very good idea. I have lots of great singers that have some classes with me and can talk about it. Yes.
Yeah, and then that takes the work out a bit for you, because you're just kind of pushing it onto somebody else. So it's a good way to save some time if you're a bit kind of like caught up.
Yeah, good idea. Thank you.
No problem.
All right, cool. Should we do Denny?
Hi.
Hi,
Hello.
how are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. All right, so we have your content category. It's cover song, repurposed to TikTok. So you're active on TikTok as well?
Not yet. I have an account, but I've been resisting.
Same.
I'm like, oh, do I really want to do this? But yeah, I need to.
No, it's a great way, because I also checked out it's a great way to create like TikTok. If you're using TikTok, and if you want to use TikTok, you can create some really good, cool, engaging videos, and you can just repurpose that over like to Instagram as well. So when you start getting to know TikTok and getting to know these trends, you can easily just like share that over to your Instagram, you know?
Right.
So try to like it's good to think of this like a little bit parallel, how they can feed off each other. Like how you can create an Instagram for TikTok, but also TikTok for Instagram here. So you're going to do cover songs for that.
Yeah, I think what I'm going to do for now until I get the hang of TikTok itself is just take existing videos that I've already done and just post them on TikTok.
And post them on TikTok, right? So what are you, and you're on Instagram, you're going to do one cover every week, or how are you going to do it?
Yeah, that's what I've been doing. I've been doing music.
Say that again?
I've been doing Music Monday.
Music Monday, right? What's the theme that you usually have?
Actually, the last 5 weeks, what I've been doing is there's an app called Voicey. It's kind of like the TikTok for singers. So I've been actually creating new songs. I've been creating original songs from that.
Okay.
So I feel like maybe I'll do half and half covers, half of the originals.
Yeah. So you're trying to test that video format, but then you're showing yourself as a musician. So that's kind of that's your music part. That's your musician part, and you're already testing some formats there. So let's see, self-love. What are you doing there now?
Usually, so far, it's only just been like I'll take a selfie and then I'll kind of highlight something about myself that's like, oh, this is something that I'm insecure about, but this is why I love it anyway. Or and then I think what I want to incorporate a little bit more of is the mental health aspect, so that'll still kind of reflect back to self-love.
Right. So Lewis, what type of content pieces that we can do to kind of bring this personality, because that's her personality, you know, that's probably also directly reflected in her music.
Again, I'm going to go back to the wonderful carousels. So, for example, let's take beauty, for example. I mean, I know that I don't know if you are a beauty influencer, but you could do a roundup of the beauty products that make you feel like Wonder Woman or special and things like that. So then you could do, 1 to 7 with all of these different items. Not in a way that an influencer would do it and trying to sell the product, but just trying to kind of, if you're feeling a bit shitty about, if you're feeling insecure about this, then, I use this eye bag cream for whatever reason.
What are you communicating specifically here?
Kind of my trademark thing is my hair. So I focus a lot on my curly hair.
Nice.
I think.
So you could do products, the products, or like the stages of taming curly hair or something like that. Just like the start to the end process with each step in individual things. But obviously that's not something that you can do every week. So I think maybe if you try to create a series every week of I don't know, try and think of a theme and then do it every week. So for example, 1 week it could be hair, the next week it could be skin, the next week it could be some, and then just kind of go around in a cycle. That's a good way to kind of give yourself something to work on every week. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
I guess part of my question with all of these categories in general is that it feels like I'm kind of reaching, in the sense that going too far away from me as a musician. And it's like, I feel like if I would go to someone's page and they have so many different types of content, I would look at them and go, okay, they don't know who they are, because it's all over the place. So,
but then this is why you need to choose. Like, this is a completely opposite example to what you are. But if you look at, say, Snoop Dogg, he is an artist, but all he posts about is smoking weed. And he's funny, and then is this. I think as long as you've got the main theme is your music, and then you've just got these additional bits which just show your personality and the different things that you enjoy. I don't think that's diluting it too much. Obviously, if you've got like 12 different categories that you're constantly posting about, I think it is a bit too much. But just driving it down to like, I don't know, 4 to 6 is a lot better. So I think kind of choose your battles there. Like, which one what do you think you can speak more about? And it's not even a case of even if you've run out of content of that one idea, then you can just move on to the next. You don't have to do everything at the same time,
Right.
So let's think.
So a lot of the times when I'll see like artists that I admire, all of their posts will be either photos of themselves or photos of gigs or photos in the studio or singing stuff. And it's maybe every once in a while there'll be like a quote or a meme or something. But I feel like for me, like I dance, I cook, I do social justice, like activism. So it's kind of a lot.
Yeah.
So you can tie in your music with those things. You could have one of your tracks in the background playing whilst you're talking about. If you say you were doing a cooking show or a cooking segment, you could also at the same time do like a review, an album review. So whilst you're cooking something, you'll have your music playing in the background, and then you'll talk about it whilst you're cooking. Do you know, like just kind of mix up the formats a bit, so music is still a part of it. without it kind of like veering too far away.
And also social justice, that you can communicate that through music as well, where you like, this is the best carousel of the best songs for, you know, that was last year about, you know, social justice that moved you, that was important for you. You can like tie music into community and showing your personality as well. So by using your expertise as a musician, by like also telling a point, telling a story, and sharing some additional value. So, but if social justice is probably part of your, you know, your lyrics and content and music and inspirations, then we can create formats in how you share your music through that as well. But the goal is to then, you want to show yourself from a social justice point of view. You know, that's important with that content piece. So,
yeah,
Lewis, what are some things that we can do with social justice?
What is it in particular that you're referring
like
to?
what are my causes?
Yeah.
So I work on a lot of stuff with immigration, LGBTQ rights, women's rights, police brutality on the Black community, stereotypes in the Middle East.
In what format are you kind of doing that kind of work? What
is that only through your music now? Through your and your activism, or are you also communicating it in different formats now?
No, actually, my music is not connected. That's kind of the thing, is like I do like pop R&B, like has nothing to do with social justice, and the social justice part is very separate. Like I'm an activist on the ground. I do a lot of work with community organizing and stuff overseas, but they really my music is not about that at all. Right. I don't sing about like, you know.
No. So if I were you, I would plan your week with your content. What I would invest most of your time in is the video content to show yourself from the music side. But then the content to show yourself from a personality side can be a little bit lighter sometimes, where you could be memes and quotes and other, you can repurpose a lot of content here. Because first of all, you want them to know, like get to know you and your music process, right? But you can easily share your personality with very easy content, because I do think that it will be important for you to show yourself from these, like the curly hair angle, that's an edge also, that's your presentation, that's also your like that's kind of your statement. So you can create, like you've already created something out of that. But also the social justice area, where, you know, that's an important part of your personality, you know? So you need to also show that, because people will get to know you deep, like the causes that you work for and everything that you work for, and they can connect with you in different ways as well.
So with the social justice area, I mean, having that as like you kind of injected in as a to show your personality from time to time, like could you work on a project that is in aid of one of these sort of areas, you know, create a song around a particular issue, or collaborate with other artists or whatever, you know, just kind of have it in that kind of sense. So it does relate to your music. I mean, this won't be something that's going on all the time, but, you know, you could create a project that shows your followers that you are also interested in X, Y, and Z, you know? So rather than have that as a weekly thing, I think it'd be good just to kind of have that as a project that you can kind of refer back to, or work on, or improve, or build on. You know, it's a really good thing to include, and obviously you can do some good by, you know, donating the proceedings or whatever. You know, there's lots you can do around that. So I think that's a pretty good idea if you've not already done that.
So the way that you should then plan your week is then the content that you know you have to invest more time and have to plan around is you as the video content, while the other ones, try to test out some different formats here, and whatever you're comfortable. Like if you feel like you're spamming too much with quotes, and then it's not your format. So you need to find something that's kind of comfortable for you, and that you can stand for on your profile as well, and that kind of reflects you, your brand, your music, and everything. So, but you need to do that through testing. You're not going to find the right format right away. So we're gonna, like, the sooner it's what I say in my startups whenever I start a new company. We need to fail our way so we can find the right solutions, because you need to the process of doing this now, of creating different types of content, testing some formats. you will then feel, oh, I'm happy with this part, but this feels weird. This is not me. So I'm not going to do this anymore. But this, like, and you're getting inspired by some, so you'll maybe add on something else. But the categories should reflect, of course, your product, which is your music, which is you want them over to your streaming site, but you also want to collaborate with people, right? So that's, you need to show that's important. But do you have any other products around your music now?
I don't right now. I'm working with like a branding expert. So that might be coming up soon, but that's kind of been my thing about the promotion categories. I really don't have, like, I'm not promoting a specific live show other than wanting to do live performances on Instagram. Like, it's not like I have, hey, buy tickets to my show or go buy this new album, because I haven't released music in a long time.
Right.
So it's,
but promoting could also mean just promoting another social media channel that you've got. It doesn't necessarily have to be something that people are buying, you know. Or if you created like even if you just did a blog, you know, you're promoting the blog. It's not necessarily a product that someone's going to buy. So for now, if you're just building up your following, it's good to try and cross promote your different channels, any sort of work that you've done, or, you know, just it doesn't have to be, you know, promoting an album.
Because you can then try to promote them, for them to move over to your Spotify, move over to your YouTube, move over to your TikTok. That's also like what we're tracking with that specific post, is that if we're able to move them over, are they going over to your website and actually checking it out? Because then, you know, you're promoting something. When you have products, we want to optimize that real estate for actually promoting products. Until you have products, you need to start seeing how, like, if your fan base, are they engaged? Are they doing, are they paying attention? Is the content working, you know? And that's what this will tell you. That's what, you know, they're clicking over, they're checking out. All right, well, it's working. You know, people are getting interested. They're moving over when I'm telling them, and you're kind of you're communicating and building more and more trust. So when you do publish your music and launch them, you're having, you know, you're having an active, engaged following that you can move easily over to, you know, somewhere else. Because essentially, I mean, Instagram is Instagram. Of course, we want to build our followings there, but we want to move them over to where we have our music and we have our, you know, expertise and our product eventually. But that's done through building, you know, trust and engaging with them, and, you know, constantly forming them to, like, get so they know where to, you know, go as well, like teaching them almost, you know.
Okay,
cool. All right. So but everyone will feel this as well. Like, it's content creation is not like, it's not a recipe that you like, it's not the right recipe right away. You will find the right recipe through testing. So that's why, like, and how do we start testing? We need a plan. So we need to know what we're testing, because if we don't know what we're testing, we have no idea how we're doing. So by using these categories, you're then kind of structuring your content in your head. And then you can then, all right, well, I know I need to show myself from a social justice. Let's think of different formats that I can do that, and then test that for the next few weeks, and then see, like, all right, I like this type of format. That's more me. This is definitely not me. I didn't get engagement and I didn't enjoy it. And but that's done through actually experiencing it, you know?
Right. Do you at some point go back, like if I were to go back into my feed, like over the last month, and I see all the posts that didn't really get much engagement, and maybe remove them so that they don't count against my engagement numbers?
No, it doesn't. Instagram's, whenever you post something on Instagram, that's alive for maybe, you know, a few days. So it doesn't matter if it's on your account or not. It's not really going to affect it. What is important, I always keep it there or archive it and not delete it, because we're going to go into metrics in this program, and I'm going to show you how to measure, and I'm going to, like, and those metrics are valuable. So what the activity that you've done previously, we need to learn from that, and you need to then see how we can do this better, you know. And then, so if you're removing them from the platform, you're not going to get access to the metrics. So at least archive it.
Yeah, that's
but
what I do.
It doesn't. Yeah, it doesn't really make any. Like, it's not alive there anyway. So it's up to what you want or not. Lewis, what's your opinion on that? To remove old posts or not?
Oh no. Unless it's completely off-brand, just leave it there. Like, I mean, it's not hugely important, but I think if you've not got much content on your page, leave it. If you've got loads and you can get rid of it, then, you know, it's not that important.
Yeah.
I don't think many people really scroll back that far, do they? Well, some people do, Depends how much they fancy you.
I do. I'm a stalker. I just
Okay, maybe that's just me. I'm too lazy to scroll past the first 6 boxes.
Yeah.
All right. All right. So should we go to El Audiman? El Audiman. Jose, I need to unmute. There you are. Are you there? I can't hear you. Nope. Can't hear you. All right. While you're working on your audio, we're gonna do Evie, and then we're gonna go back to you. So try to enter it, like see if it's connected with your audio, because I can't hear you. So try to fix it, and then we'll get back to you. All right, Evie.
Hi everyone. Can you hear me?
Hi. Yep, we can hear you.
Hi.
All right. So
I switched off the video because I was getting bad reception.
That's fine. That's fine.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. So what are your content categories?
Well, I've started to record everything that I'm doing, from my writing to my messenger, studio time. I'm collecting content, as you say, and then creating a strategy of how I'm going to release them and leading up to the release of the song on Instagram. So that's what I've been doing. I've also cleaned up my Evie in the World Instagram and taken your advice and stuck to that one.
Right. So, but what are your content categories?
Oh, sorry. Music, writing and recording.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm focusing on, really, getting my songs out.
Okay. So what about let's create some content categories for you. So you have your music. So every week you need to share yourself from the music creation, preferably video.
Mm-hmm.
And then what about your personality? What is about your personality right now, when people get to know you?
That's a good question. I don't know. I'm a bit. It's a bit ironic having my profile out, because I'm a bit of a private person.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of not struggling with it, but learning.
So what's a good, like, sometimes a good way to show personality without like showing yourself is repurposing other people's content sometimes. So you see, like Lewis said that with Snoop Dogg. If you go to Snoop Dogg's profile, you'll see there's tons of videos that are just funny, that he just took from online, and he's using the caption of just, you know, sharing his thoughts on that. And then he's you know, has tons of quotes, tons of memes. You know, he's sharing his personality by just getting, you know, using other people's content, basically. So you don't have to necessarily be personal to show personality. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Okay. So I do share quotes, like inspirational quotes, spiritual quotes.
So inspiration. Yeah. So inspiration is your personality.
Yeah. To be inspired and to inspire. I love.
What are your products?
Sorry?
What are your products now?
What do you mean?
So you're selling music.
Yeah.
And the music streaming, right? Do you have any other products around you that you're selling other than streaming?
No, not at the moment.
Right.
Because I'm literally just launching my stuff out, literally doing it as we do this program. So
So you need to then, I mean, because music will be, of course, one of your products, and streaming, but you need to then start also creating different products around your identity here and around your music. And you think of products that you can also create around your music, whether it's shows or working with somebody, or songwriting, or, you know, there's different products that you can create around being a musician as well, and not just your streaming, because streaming revenue is going to take some time to get. That's a process. That's a long-term strategy. You also need to think of different products to create around, you know, your music as well. That is a quicker sell.
Okay.
And sometimes that's, you know, for musicians, that can be identity. As you see here, like some are teachers, some are tutors, some are do yoga, some are like that they tie their identity into their products as well. Or, you know, Cici Luna, she's a DJ. So that's, you know, one part that she's creating a product around.
Okay, so can we go back to the playlists? And
how can you explain? Is that the playlists on YouTube or Instagram or both?
No, so the format playlist can be a good format for musicians to use, because playlist is basically a compilation of music, right? So there's a reason why Obama every year launched his most played songs, because people engage with that type of format. People like that. It's personal, right? So for musicians, playlist can be a really good format to actually kind of share your expertise as a musician and not just promote your own music. So you can then, create like what DJ Sasha, the example that I use is, he's a DJ. So one of the playlists was like, this is a compilation of, the best ending of the night songs. And then that's the only purpose of that playlist. And you as a musician can create that playlist very easily. And it takes you like 5 to 10 minutes because you breathe and live in that, especially if it's in your expertise. Yeah. But it's very valuable for others to get these pre-made playlists, because people are lacking that. Do you guys see me?
Yeah.
Yeah. People are lacking that creativity. My screen just went total black. That's why. But you guys see me, yeah? Yeah, perfect. So, so playlist can be a musician's blog almost, because not blog post might not be your format of writing and communicating, while playlist can it still generates tons of value by using that as a format, but it's also showing yourself as an expertise as a musician, and then you can then create tons of content to promote these playlists. But the goal of the playlist is not to promote your music; it's just kind of how you use music. It could be that, like, let's say you have an album, it could be all your inspirations in the album. Of course, you can sneak in your song there and there if it fits in. But the main purpose of a playlist is to show your expertise as a musician and your background and how you use music, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I could do a playlist as to that's connected to the most recent song that I'm writing and the inspirations for that recent song. I could do something like that.
Yep. So think of also then, because if you're going to use playlist as the format, it needs to be consistent. So also think of like how often you want to launch a playlist. It could be like, let's say you have a weekly one or you have a bi-weekly one. So you then need to be very clear on kind of how often you're going to do it, because it determines on your content and your activity as well.
Okay. Well, I wouldn't do it once a week. I'd do it every 2 weeks or something. Yeah.
So then you could feed more content into your platform, but then also you're showing yourself from the your music expert side as well. So could be good.
Okay, I have a question about the carousels. I tried to post something the other day onto one of the carousels that I made up for songwriting, but I realized that unless I've already posted it, I can't put it through. Is that right?
Say that again.
So I wanted to post something on a carousel.
Yep.
But I realized that unless I had already posted it, I couldn't put it through. Is that correct? I couldn't tag it onto my carousel because I hadn't posted it yet.
No, to create a carousel, you just upload 1 to 10 images.
Yeah, I've done that.
At the same time, it doesn't need to be anywhere else.
It could be on your phone to do that. Like the pictures that you create, or on your laptop or whatever. It doesn't have to be published images that you publish on your profile already. It could be anything.
Okay, because I created on one of the carousels, I created songwriting, as a heading, and then when I tried to post something into that, it wouldn't do it.
Do you mean the story highlights you're talking about?
Oh yeah, the story highlights. Sorry.
Yeah.
All right.
The difference between a carousel is it's just a term they use for the square images on the feed. They aren't actually, we don't refer to them as they're not stories. They're separate. So that's probably where you got a bit confused. Cool. So on Instagram now, you can now post up to 10 pictures on your feed. Your actual feed itself, not your stories, your actual Instagram, and then so people can swipe across. That's what we've been talking about.
All right, I don't get. I'm a bit confused, but it's fine. I can look into it. I'll look into it.
Yeah, I can send you a link of how to create the carousels on an email.
Cool.
But yeah, you are right. If you want to put a story into the highlight, it does need to be active. So you need to transfer it over within the first 24 hours that it's up.
Yep. to actually get them into the story highlight.
Yeah, got it. Thank you.
Cool. All right, should we move over to El Arman? Do you have your audio?
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Oh. Hi, everyone.
All right.
So
my
you have my
screen is
examples of my categories here.
There you go.
I can give you an example of each one if you want.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you can go through your content categories and how far you are now, and then we can help you further.
Sure. First of all, my songwriting and singer is totally attached to my identity, my personality, my humor. Everything goes in my music, my slang. So when I refer to identity, I'm talking about as me as an Ecuadorian. No, I use my slang. I use a lot of jokes that we, street talk. I use it in my music, so I place that a lot in my Instagram. No, second personality. I'm funny. I'm kind of dark joke kind of guy. So I do a lot of things with that. Inspirational, yes. My music is most romantic. So when I get something nice, I use it as a quote in my music and in my post. So I do a lot of that, and I like to inspire people to feel better, about themselves and stuff like that. I use myself as a guy that struggles a lot, but still hanging on. So I've been like 30 years in the business, so I use that a lot. Tease. I live in a kind of two faces society in my country. So I like to tease a lot with breaking the mold. So, for example, today I post a picture. No, I was in the bathroom, like leaning to the wall. Yeah, and I use it as inspiration. Let's start working with a lot of positive attitude because we weren't born rich, but we were beautiful. No, but the people thought that I was pissing. And I wasn't. So I like to tease a lot, use the tease for that, And the fifth category is promote my music, the old one. So like I told you before, I'm been in the business like 30 years. So I had a lot of old music, classic music for them, and my new music. And then promoting my shows. Now my live streaming shows, like I did Saturday. The last week was all around that show. I post a lot of, and we did pretty well at Saturday. We had like almost 600 tickets sold, so it was great. So that's what I'm focused. I don't have an orders of importance. Okay, it's not like identity is the first thing in my priorities. It comes with what I'm doing in that week. If I had to promote a show, well, promoting the show is the first thing. It's my priority that week.
Right. So it goes from. So we'll go in 2 weeks. We're gonna go over kind of planning your month when it comes to that. So that goes with the kind of the activities that you have already. So if you have a show, that will be your promotion. If you have if you have a new track, that will be that week's promotion, and that goes from like not weekly planning, but it goes from more like the monthly planning. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah.
I just
Cool. So you are. What is the video? What categories are you going to use video as?
Me?
What one of the categories are you going to use video? Are you thinking?
I use videos and everything. I believe. Yeah. It depends the moment, If I feel like doing a video, I do a video. When I mostly I do pictures. I'm not so comfortable with videos because, believe it or not, I'm a shy guy, and and another thing is that I don't like to be fake. Most of the Instagram stories of people that I admire, as Danny told, they like do a lot of pictures and they post that they too much produce. I like to make something, like real. I don't like to post. I don't like to fake a picture. That's because I don't know. I don't feel like that's what I don't go so well with TikTok. I'm not a TikTok person. I'm trying, but it's kind of hard for me because I'm not an actor. You know, I try to present myself like a real person. So I do videos when I need to, when I feel to. Most of them, I try videos when I promote a show.
Right. So I want you. So I want to, because we need to, like, Instagram and Facebook is changing a lot, because if we're not, like, they are going to focus more on the ones that are creating videos. They are the ones that are getting more visibility and reach now. So that's why, like, we need to move over to using more video. And a good way of using video is to think of something that you can do every week. So I want us to start thinking of, like, what is something that you can do every week, that you can use the video format, that you can start planning and testing, like, around something, that whether it's you, obviously you performing, but that's kind of you as performer, but you as a musician, when you're creating music, when you're or your personality, or like something that you can use video every week. What are you thinking here?
Mostly, I think it has to be my music process, the songwriting process. Yes.
Songwriting process. What's let's go dig deeper in here. Are you sharing anything now when it comes to that?
Well, mostly, like I told you, I like to attach my life to my music. Right now, I have to move to Miami because when the virus hit Ecuador, it got pretty hard over there, and so I moved down to Miami with my parents now. So I had to leave my studio over there, you know, a big studio, a big recording studio. So start again making a mini studio right here. So I did it like this like shacks, small shacks when you keep your tools and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Well, my dad's have one of those, so I took the tools to another shack and I make a shack over here to make a mini studio and start writing music.
Yeah.
And actually, it's below. I mean, below. From a mango tree. So every once in a while, I get a hit from a mango in the ceiling, right? So I made a studio. I made a video telling this to people, and I told I'm gonna call this mini studio Harto Mango Studios. Everything it means a lot of mango studio. So it means I'm gonna make a promise. I'm gonna make every time a mango hits the roof, I'm gonna promise I'm gonna make a hit. So that's the story I told in the video. You know, that kind of story I like to make.
Yeah, cool. Like, because you see what I'm saying, like, if you get in the process of, because now you're probably using video to promote, and that's a good way to promote. We need to now start using video to share the process, or share and we need to do that.
That raised a question for me. I had two questions right away. First of all, you say that it's better the total story with a video, right? What I use a lot. You say that it's better a video to tell a story than a simple picture, right?
Not necessarily. It depends on the purpose. Sometimes you can tell a story through a carousel. Sometimes you can tell a story through the caption, and sometimes you can tell a story through the video. What I'm saying is that
that's my question. Sorry, I interrupt you. But carousel, I don't use carousel. You know what I use a lot, because I feel the people, the less they have to swipe, the better. So what I use is collage. I mean, collage is the word. Yeah. We use a lot of photos in the same photo. Compose.
So think of it this way: like, if you share, and sometimes one photo is it, but the power of using the carousel is that you are then distributing that content into many, because then you're keeping them longer by them swiping. That's actually a good way, that you're keeping them more engaged in your content. Instagram is tracking every single swipe, and then you're keeping them on your content. So they want two things. Instagram, one, they want people to spend more time on the platform. What does that? Video content does that, but also carousels now. When it's just one piece of content, they'll spend less time, which is fine. Not all of your content needs to be time, like that they need to spend a lot of time on, but some of it needs to. And carousels are a great way to do that, because you can then optimize them. They'll spend more time on your content. And Instagram is if you get them to swipe through, Instagram is rewarding that.
Okay. I got it.
So I would
I
rather
have
than doing these
just
collages.
one last question. Can I?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. When 2 months ago, when the pandemic started rising in Ecuador, I started a movement, with the best artists over there, the top 10. And we use a hashtag called Musica. Now everybody in Latin America is using it. So what I'm asking is, we start like a collaborative thing, and we start like raising the people's spirit through making videos together from home.
Yep.
A friend of mine, a colleague of mine, did a song with me, and another thing. And the promise that we share everyone's content and our accounts, right?
Yeah.
So how good is that for me? Because actually, as I end up with like 70 videos, and less than 10% was about my music.
Right.
But was it good? Is it good?
It's about collaboration. Are you collaborating with these people?
Excuse me?
Are you collaborating? I mean, because what you're showing, we're going to talk about this next week, actually, which is good because it's bridging me over to that. Because the way of using collaboration in your content can be a really strategic tool if done wisely, because if you're collaborating with.
You got mute. I don't know. No, we don't hear you. Oh, so sad. I believe your microphone's broke.
Do you guys hear me? Do you hear me? Yes.
Yes.
Sorry, my computer is just overheating, so it just turned off. So I just have to join through my phone. So
don't worry. Don't worry.
I'm gonna shut this. No, because it's recording. Sorry, I have to go outside. Sorry. So that brings me over to the engagement. So you can then start basically creating content around engagement, around collaboration, right? Which is what you're doing now. And networking is never a bad angle to show yourself as a musician. It doesn't matter if you're necessarily working together now or not, but networking in the music industry is a very strategic tool and it's very effective. So if you'll see, I always use Snoop Dogg and 50 Cent as an example here. They always engage in each other's content on social media because they have the same fan base as well. So by creating content together and engaging in each other's content, you're technically then like their fans are moving over to you, your fans are moving over to them, and you're creating a lot of movement in your industry and within your network, right?
Even like, if it's not my work, I mean, we have a lot of collaborations. I collaborate with some of them.
Yeah.
But most of the videos that I post were like they collaborated. Other people collaborated. It's okay to do that. This is worth it. I mean, it is good because, like I told you, I end up like posting like 80 videos in my account, and less than 10% was me participating. I mean, working with them.
Lewis, how would you solve that? Is Lewis here?
I didn't think so.
No, he's because probably have to go into it's a good, but we're gonna bridge into that next week because we're gonna talk about collaboration. We're gonna talk about engagement next week, and because content creation can be a part of that as well. But if it's good to I need to know a little bit more if it's good to your brand. If it's good, I need to look at the videos and everything. because you don't want to post videos on your on your profile that's not related either. That's just promoting other ones. You do want it to be directly connected to your brand, your personality, your identity, and that your bigger purpose as well. So if you're just posting, other people's content, it's not really related to you, then no. But if you can start creating, and that goes for everyone, if you guys can start creating content and around your collaboration, around that as well, and start networking on social media, it's going to help you. Cool. All right, we need to, so what I want you to get out of today's session is basically, I want you to start pre-planning your content in advance. I want you to start thinking of content categories and then test out different types of format. What I want you to do is use Creator Studio, or there's other platforms such as Buffer, there's HubSpot, there's plenty of platforms that you can use. Creator Studio is free because it's Facebook's tools to pre-publish your content on your feed. So when you start being more clear on exactly what you need to post every week, you can get this done with and pre-publish it on Creator Studio. And then when you go into the platform, all you're doing is engaging. All you're doing is kind of communicating with people because you've already done the content creation. So by separating those two, your content creation is one activity. That's what you need to do, and you set aside time for that. I do, as you see in the content calendar that I have, you see when I work on the content as well. You need to plan for this. So whether it's every Sunday that you do all of your content, and you plan for that, and then you finish it, and then you pre-publish it. So during the week, all you're doing is just engaging in your content. So now, when you have 6 categories, or you test out some different formats, start working on it. Start testing the different videos that you want to do. And then we're going to see how these works, because some might not work and some might be more effective than others. And that we need to then, that the result here is in the metrics for that, right? So now we need to test something. We now need to have a plan. We now need to do this consistently over a few weeks' time. And then when we track these metrics, and I'm going to send you an email afterwards with because you need to start tracking them now when you're posting. We need to have a specific structure on how to track them. So we need to go into the spreadsheet, but I'll send you this in an email today of exactly how to track your weekly metrics, because that goes hand in hand with your content. So now when you have your content pieces, when you're publishing them, you're planning them out, then in a few weeks, we'll see, all right, what happened? We've done this over time now. This is the situation. This is what we learned. This is the format that's stuck. This is the categories that doesn't feel right. This is what feels right. And then we'll start forming the content so it's right for you. So next week, hopefully I get my laptop, my MacBook Pro up and running again. I think it's just overheating because I've had 4 back-to-back meetings. So next week, what I want you guys to do, because next week we're going to talk about engagement, we're going to talk about collaboration, and we're going to talk about influencers and these strategies in how to grow your visibility and grow your brand. So what I want you guys to do is 3 things. I want you to follow the Gary V $1.80 method, just so you see how effective this is. I've done the tutorial in the class. Just follow it to see. I mean, this works. So if you ever want to just boost your visibility, that's an activity to do. So I want you to do this activity at least 3 days. And then I'm going to specifically tell you what to put in the spreadsheet in an email today, because you need to track your metrics every week. And I'll show you this. But so 3 times a week, at least, I want you to do the Gary V $1.80 method, at least for 20 minutes. That's it. Don't worry, don't just say 20 minutes, whatever it counts that you can engage with in those 20 minutes, that's what you're going to engage with. And then I want you to do 20 minutes of networking with strategic industry professionals that are in your field. So these are other musicians that are related to you. These are other producers, maybe. These are if it's yoga people, these are other people that are related to you. So I want you to use 20 minutes every, those 3 days that you're doing the Gary V $1.80. I want you also then to do 20 minutes of networking, where you strategically go in and then network with people. We'll talk more about this because this is going to be one of the best strategies that you guys will do going forward. So I want you to just feel that now. So 20 minutes, I want you to engage with, use the $1.80 method, 20 minutes, I want you to do the, sorry, I'm sitting outside, do the networking with industry peers, and then 20 minutes, of course, engage in your content and whoever's on your profile, whoever you're following, whoever's in your funnel, whoever's in your profile. So that's 1 hour where you're just doing activity. So the more days that, this is like working out, right? The more days that you do it, the better results. So if you do this 3 days, that's like working out 3 days a week, right? So when we start tracking them, these numbers, which I will share you the spreadsheet, it's also in the online course, you'll then see that it's directly related, these activities that you're doing, to your metrics. So 3 things I want you to try next week. One Gary $1.80 method for 20 minutes. 20 minutes of networking with industry professionals, 20 minutes of networking with people that are already following you, that you're already following as well.
Can you write it down, please?
Yeah, I'm going to send it all in an email afterwards.
Thank you.
Don't worry. Like, if you guys don't have like anything written, you'll get the recording afterwards. You'll also get a summary of all the activities, and I'll also remind you guys on Monday as well.
Rebecca?
Yeah.
I guess I totally missed the Gary $1.80 method. That'll be in the email too, I guess then, huh?
Yep, and it's also, the video is in the course. It's in the chapter. We're moving on to the chapter engagement. So the Gary $1.80 method, it's actually a tutorial where I just go through the step-by-step of actually how to do it. It can be a very tedious process sometimes. It can be very boring. It can be very repetitive. It's very, because you do the same thing over again. But it's like working out. The more you do it, the better results. And I just want you to test the strategy, because it works. It's an effective strategy, you know? But I want you to cap it to just, instead of doing the Gary $1.80 method, he says 89 accounts. Instagram is going to block you if you actually communicate with 89 accounts in an hour. So just say 20 minutes, whatever you can do in 20 minutes.
Okay.
So I'll send you the activities. I'm going to send you a spreadsheet. If you don't understand the spreadsheet, go into the online course, because I go through the spreadsheet, because I want you guys to track your metrics right now, and I want you to track your weekly metrics. So if anything is unclear, bring those questions to next week. So, but start playing around with this spreadsheet, because it's going to be an important spreadsheet for everyone, because that's where the success lays. Because that's this spreadsheet is going to summarize all of your activity and all of your whatever you've done on your content, as well as your engagement and your collaboration, everything that you do. Cool.
Great.
Sorry about the technical issues here today.
We all had that kind of problem. We all had.
But gave us a little break.
Thank you.
Cool. Do we have any questions of creating content? As I told you, it's a continuous process. This is not going to be. It's going to be frustration sometimes. It's going to be, and especially if you're moving your content up to publishing more times a week. Now you'll see some won't generate a lot of reach, some will. And then you'll see, oh, I'm getting more, from my old video when I just publish once a week. That's why I want you to track everything that you're doing in a week, all the content, all of this, and the spreadsheet is going to help you with that, because you'll see
just
that.
a request, Rebecca.
Yeah.
Can you put in the email the apps we can use for organize our posts?
Organize our what?
Our posts, our weekly, categories. I heard that Luis suggested an application, but I didn't catch the name.
Yeah. Let me ask him, because I don't remember specifically what it was about. But what you can do when you're
Creator Studio, maybe.
Yes, the tool to create. Yes, the tools to create content. I'll give you some tips on like good like Vimely, Adobe, like free tools that you can use to create cool videos, because there's tons of video editing tools out there. But I'll also, because when you are going through Instagram now, you are doing your research, you're getting inspired. You can also use the save functionality on Instagram and start categorizing your inspiration inside Instagram. So when you bookmark something, a content on Instagram, you can then categorize it, and then you can create different categories here where you have like, this is good, cool memes, cool videos, cool something, which will help you when you're doing your content creation and your preparation, because then you can, all right, well, I found a good, that I can reuse, and you're just saving it there. So when you're browsing through Instagram, you can then also do research by categorizing your research inside Instagram. And you can do that with the categories inside Instagram when you bookmark it. Cool.
Yep.
All right, longer session today. You'll get access to the recording. If you have any questions, if you want something specific that you're struggling with, send me an email and I'll get back to you. I'm a little bit slower in the weekend than I am during the week.
Thank you.
Cool.
Bye.
All right, good. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.